Unfortunately, society still cannot fully realize how deep the Chernobyl tragedy is. The fact is that radioactive elements are not only to be found in the exclusion zone, which only includes an area of 30 kilometers. Unfortunately, radioactive elements are spread over a much larger area.
Right after the accident, the main attention was paid, of course, to the recovery workers and the citizens evacuated. Thus, those people who remained to live in contaminated areas were somehow taken out of consideration, and basically such large health studies haven't been conducted for a long time.
Enormous attention is now paid to the recovery workers, and that's totally justified. But more attention needs to be paid to those who constantly receive radioactive elements via food, air and water.
And when I met Yuri Ivanovich, we had a very interesting conversation about the level of health people have in this region, what problems they face, etc. And he gave me the task to analyze the birth rate, death rate, and the rate of population increase over the past few years. Those absolutely clear and constant figures. I did this, and I was tremendously overwhelmed by this information because the figures were poor. The birth rate decreased and the death rate began to grow. In the structure of mortality, I was struck by the fact that up to 25% were people under retirement age.
Those factors forced us to look for an opportunity of implementation of a large-scale project that would show all the negative sides of radiation effect on the one hand, and on the other, help us to find solutions to mitigate these effects.
We came to the fact that we live in unfavorable environment and have no idea how to improve this situation. No health improvement activities were carried out. The hospital was in a terrible condition, to be honest. The only thing that was necessary was to create an atmosphere in which these people could live safely, work, and develop.
And we suggested this project to the European Commission.
From 2013 to 2017 in Ivankiv Central District Hospital, a European Union project for technical assistance was implemented within the health and environmental programs related to the Chernobyl exclusion zone.
The project was primarily focused on the people who live in radioactively contaminated areas and who, unfortunately, are not paid much attention to.
The project was divided into two components. First, supply of medical equipment and consumables, and the second was the service project, training and coordination of health-related projects.
That is how we started to implement this project in Ivankiv district.
We conducted the radiological mapping of Ivankiv district. This was done in order to understand the levels of cesium-137 and strontium-90 contained in the soil.
And this was the first project in which soil radiometry was carried out.
To understand whether it was possible to grow agricultural plants, what crops were suitable to the area, and what the prospects were for this area as an agricultural region.
The maps presented here have different coloring, according to the level of radioactive elements contained in each area. Where the color is more intense, namely purple areas, the content of radioactive elements is higher. And we see that even the so-called capital of this district is also in the area of radioactive contamination, as it has a serious amount of cesium and strontium contained in soils. The soil that was contaminated with radioactive elements during the accident did not lose these elements. And I want to point out that namely strontium comes to the forefront recently. And the concentration of strontium in food grown in this area is quite high.
Within the supply project, we have received a lot of diagnostic, medical and resuscitation equipment, as well as consumables. The hospital is provided with very good laboratory equipment. We've created a clinical laboratory, a chemical laboratory and a radiometric laboratory. Those are unique laboratories that can't be found almost in any hospital, because they're not purely clinical for treatment or for diagnosis. Those laboratories allow us to understand what is happening in human bodies and the external environment that surrounds them.
A maternal and child sanitary service centre has been established due to the provision of medical equipment.
There, a full comprehensive examination of pregnant women and newborns is performed.
To this day, this centre has been admired by medical workers from other regions of Ukraine, as well as by our foreign colleagues, who have made considerable efforts to establish this centre.
Due to the European Union project, we have received a lot of resuscitation equipment, especially for newborns. For instance, the device for artificial ventilation of the lungs, Leone 2. And this device is called CPAP. It allows a smooth transition from artificial lung ventilation to an unassisted breathing of a newborn. This is our intensive care unit, which was also established as a result of the project. There has never been an intensive care unit in our hospital within its 101-year history. I would like to emphasize that due to the European Union project, there has been significant improvement in the funding of our hospital. Major repairs and reconstruction have been carried out almost in every department and in the clinic. And since 2020, our hospital has become a key medical facility. Our hospital provides emergency medical care to all residents of the Kiev region.
We have the opportunity to assess the health of children whose parents were kids themselves at the time of the accident. Those are the children who suffered the main impact of radiation on the thyroid gland and the whole body after the accident.
Imagine every day 30 children came from different settlements and were centrally examined in the Ivankiv Central District Hospital. Thoroughly examined.
These are the children from Ivankiv District and Polisia District. During the year, we have examined about 4,000 school-aged children.
So, today we have about 10,400 examination records. The project focused on the entire child population of 2 districts, Polisia District and Ivankiv District, and on pregnant women, because they are the most sensitive to radiation in the entire population.
We examined children with a spectrometer of human radioactive emanation.
Within the project, 2 such devices have been installed. They are manufactured in Ukraine and highly appreciated worldwide. The device has 3 sensors which allow us to detect the level of cesium-137 in the whole body as well as in any separate organs. The level can be measured separately in the thyroid gland, or in the pelvic organs, or elsewhere. The measurement takes 10 minutes. Entering the body, cesium distributes unevenly, so it was necessary to find out how much is contained in the whole body. The results that we gained became the basis for scientific analysis.
The genetic system has never been examined before in the areas that suffered from the accident. Methionine is an essential amino acid that plays a huge role, as getting into the body, it creates conditions for the protection of the genetic apparatus and many enzyme systems of the body. And unfortunately, more than 70% of examined children suffer from disorders of methionine metabolism, particularly from an increased level of such intermediate metabolite in the metabolism of this amino acid as homocysteine, the level of which is very high.
The medical project included several tasks. The first was to establish a news and information centre.
We have found out that people have very poor knowledge of these problems, despite the fact that significant time has passed since the accident. As part of the project, we have issued booklets and recommendations. They were handed out in all the settlements, both rural and in Ivankiv itself. They contained rules of conduct in radiation-contaminated areas and information about technological methods of cooking from products obtained from these areas. Any person who has received such products can have them tested in their laboratory for free.
People brought the food that grew out there to check it for the content of cesium-137. And after the examination, children and parents felt motivated to engage in disease prevention, to lead a healthy lifestyle, not to use the gifts of the forest, etc.
I must say that, despite the fact that this project was socio-medical, it was also meant to provide direct assistance to the people living in these problem areas. It should be noted that, in addition to radioactive contamination of the territory, the soils of Policia are deprived of iodine and selenium and other micro and macro elements. And therefore, in order for the population to be healthy here, they need to adjust their diet. For this purpose, the project provided dietary supplements such as Sirovit.
From seaweed Sister Sarah, in order to compensate iodine deficiency, which has been noticed in our territory for many years, children were offered this domestically manufactured diet supplement, Zirovit, for free.
It should be noted that we obtained very good results, as, according to the survey, the incidence of disease in school children has decreased sharply, and the percentage of children who fell ill during the year, especially during the last year, was very low, about 1 to 2%.
At the end of the project, when we already had the results on the level of homocysteine and metabolic disorders, we finally understood what processes took place in children's metabolisms. At the beginning of the project, we did not have such an understanding. In fact, this examination was necessary to find out what the real situation with children's health was like. How much has it been damaged? How many changes have occurred in children's metabolisms?
After the project, our group presented several reports, particularly at the European Commission in Brussels and Strasbourg, regarding the results of the project. We also presented the results at a conference organised in Ivankiv, where everyone was invited. The room was crowded and people showed great interest in what we did within this project. The results that we obtained during the project are the analysis of the health status of the examined children. They have been included in numerous scientific articles.
A huge number of scientific studies have been written in the world on this topic, but only our studies contain data about a huge number of children with an elevated level of homocysteine in the blood. This must be realized. This must be noted. I believe that this is the main scientific and even social significance of this project. Thus, the project does not have to stop. It has to continue.
For me, as a scientist, teacher and doctor, this experience is invaluable because we can really help these people. We did the best we could to pass our knowledge on. We informed them, we examined them, we told them how to behave correctly.
It is a great pleasure for me to highlight the work and the help from the European Commission, because we have never seen such large-scale work in the affected areas before.
The understanding of what happened, of those deep inside processes, gives us hope that we'll be able to understand how to help these people, how to block the development of these negative processes, and how to give these people the opportunity to live long, productive lives and work.
This project is an extremely important link, an extremely important step in further research and further protection of people. So it does not have to be the end, it has to be just the beginning. The start of human health protection that needs to be developed here and possibly in other problem territories.
It seems to me I'm blind from beauty here. I look and wonder what amazing things those fields, the sky, those forests over there are all so pure, tender, sweet to me. The roads as they are and sycamores, they're all mine. Ukraine is what their name is. Imperishable beauty is so deep that I would stop and talk to God of this.